Up next, the story of an explosive 80s power ballad from one of the most underappreciated bands of the entire decade is told by its co-songwriter. It's a song that every child of the 80s remembers for a few reasons. Next on Professor of Rock. Hey music junkies, Professor of Rock, always here to celebrate the greatest artists and the greatest songs of all time. Yeah, I'm starting to feel a whole lot better, and I do want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for all of your incredible support as I've been fighting pneumonia. I want to invite you to subscribe below right now so that you get our daily features on the stories of the songs straight from the legends. Also, take a look at our Patreon when you have a chance, where we're adding new features all the time. Now, in 1984, Survivor released an AOR album masterpiece called Vital Signs. This was just a few years after taking the music world by storm with the mega hit Eye of the Tiger from Rocky III, which not only spent 6 weeks at the #1 spot on the Billboard Hot 100, it was nominated for an Academy Award, and is still one of the biggest songs to come from the decade. Survivor, which at that moment consisted of guitar-songwriter Frankie Sullivan, keyboardist-songwriter Jim Peterik, lead singer Dave Bickler, bassist Stephen Ellis, and drummer Mark Dubray, were at the top of their game. And in 1983, the band tried to duplicate the success of Eye of the Tiger with their next album, Caught in the Game. That was released in September of '83. Except the album faltered. It stalled at number 82 on the top 200 album chart in the US, and the title track from that record, it peaked at only number 77. There was also more bad news when lead singer Dave Bickler, the strong voice behind Eye of the Tiger, began to suffer vocal problems, and he had to undergo an operation that would get rid of vocal fold nodules, which would require much rest and time, which was really not feasible for a band that was trying to keep pace with the continuing changes in music. It was really a race against time to somehow keep the band relevant with more time passing from their success from Eye of the Tiger. So the band moved on from Bickler and tried out new singers. Enter one Jimmy Jamison. He had, of course, played with the bands Target and Cobra. You know, Jimmy Jamison really had it all. The unparalleled voice, those chiseled good looks, the fire and the passion. He was kind of the mold for the 80s rock and pop star, although it's his voice that stands above it all. What made his voice so spectacular, so dazzling, was that yearning. Oh man, as a listener, Jamison could start you out at that really light and peaceful solid ground, and you're just mesmerized by a really palpable serenity. And then within a few seconds, he could just launch you 2,000 feet into the stratosphere with a fiery and passionate energy that would just rip the roof off of any arena in the world. He was the perfect voice for the band at that moment and for the 1984 album Vital Signs. Vital Signs showed off Jamison's voice perfectly in each and every song, really. His voice on that record is just a revelation. He fits so perfectly into the music of Survivor that it was really no surprise that 3 of the 4 singles released from the album were major hits. I mean, seriously, Jimmy's voice was tailor-made for the bombastic, uplifting, and anthemic throttle of the rise up and shout songs from this fiery record, like the first single, I Can't Hold Back. And then the rockin' energy of High on You. Even the album tracks like Broken Promises. And Everlasting were just first rate. It returned Survivor to great prominence as the album hit number 16 and it sold over 1 million copies. Now, I Can't Hold Back hit number 13, followed by High on You, that hit number 8. And then the elegant power ballad, The Search Is Over, which clocked in at number 4 on the Billboard Hot 100. And it was a number 1 hit on the AC charts. You followed me through changes. The Search Is Over was written by Frankie Sullivan and Jim Peterik, who co-wrote most of Survivor's hits. It's a song that is well known by anyone who came of age in the wondrous decade of the 80s for a couple of reasons. that we're going to discuss in the upcoming interview here.
Who am I to blame you for doubting what?
Speaking of which, I was very fortunate to get the story of this song and how it came together from Jim Peterik, formerly of Survivor, who co-wrote the song. He tells us about the first time that Jimmy Jamison sang the song and the inspiration behind the composition. He also tells us what inspired him to form a band in the first place and become a musician. Now, as we go into this interview, very good interview, by the way, I want to thank our sponsor, Zenni Eyewear. The glasses that I wear every single day. If you go to Zenni.com, you can not only design your own frames, you can also add blocks by Zenni. This protects your eyes against harmful UV and blue light that we all encounter from time to time. It actually helped me a lot when I had a headache recently, but I had to send an email, and so it really protected me there. Go check it out today. Here is Jimmy with the story of The Search Is Over.
Well, it's not every day you get to talk to one of your heroes, but I want to go right to the very beginning and ask you, what was it for you, Jim? The moment that kicked open the door to your mind and made you want to pursue music, like, this is what I want to do. What was that?
Yeah, well, I have two older sisters. One passed away, but they're both like 10 years and 12 years older than me. So I had the advantage at age 4 of all these little 45s coming into my universe that they would buy. And a lot of them had yellow labels and said "Son" on it. So very early, I was into Johnny Cash and the very early Presley stuff. And I didn't know what I was feeling. I just knew it was electrifying me. And then when Presley hit the Ed Sullivan Show, I was a made man. I knew that's what I wanted to do. The girls were screaming, "He's looking great." And I didn't verbalize it, of course, but that's when I knew that was the path I was going to take. And my sisters just encouraged that, and they taught me ukulele at age 4. And we used to take family vacations down to Florida. And in the back seat in my dad's 52 Chrysler, we would be singing, "Jada, jada, jing, jing." Jada, jada, jing, jing, jing. And with Someone Like You, and those were the happiest times still the happiest memories of my life. Although I've had a lot of great memories since, but that's where it all started.
How can I convince you?
Well, in '83, Caught in the Game, you released that album. It kind of flatlines a little bit. Bickler loses his voice. This is where you guys rise from the ashes with one of my favorite singers in history, Jimmy.
It's very difficult for a band to survive the changing of a lead singer. It's happened. Van Halen and
Journey
and Van Hagar and Journey. Yeah. But we didn't know. And we started holding auditions and dead ends. But I got a call from my former manager, Frank Rand, and he said, there's this group called Cobra, and their lead singer, I think they're about to break up, but their singer is really great. Send me the Cobra record. And I didn't really love the Cobra record, but I heard something in this guy's voice that sounded very interesting. We flew him into Chicago. He auditioned the day after Kevin Chalfant. We were just about to give the gig to Kevin Chalfant, who went on to form The Storm and many other great solo career. But when Jimmy came, we used to rehearse in this old carpet warehouse, and the fumes from the carpet would make us all cry. It was awful. And Jimmy comes, he's very polite, very humble. It was almost like an Elvis Presley vibe. Yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. Not that bad, but very polite and very, just great guy. And he steps up to the mic, and Frankie and I just wrote Broken Promises. And, he sang it in my ear the first one. Summer and smoke, diamonds and dust, go where you will, do what you must. Goosebumps all over me.
Yeah.
Oh my God, do that on the microphone. So he nailed Broken Promises. And we had this crappy PA. He made the PA sound good. That's how loud his voice was. And I go, wow, can I show you another one? And we had just written The Search Is Over.
Oh.
So I'm playing him The Search Is Over in E flat. And he's singing it back to me. I said, did you hear this song before? He goes, no, man. That's how good his ear was.
Wow.
And we get to the chorus, and we're doing it. And he goes, and now I look into your eyes. And his voice cracked on eyes. And I go, well, stop the band. Frankie, we better lower this a half step. And he looks at me and goes, oh man, give a half a man a chance.
I love that.
I never forgot that. I said, okay, all right. So we did it again in E flat. And man, did he nail that.
Oh, wow.
He nailed it.
I love that story.
From this day on, it's in E flat.
I was living for a dream.
The Search Is Over. #1 on the AC charts, #4 on the pop charts. And that was inspired by a news story, but also by a friend that you had. I like that story.
Yeah, I had a good friend who reconnected with a girlfriend that he had fallen out with, and they fell in love and they got married.
You were with me all the while.
But it's so multi-level, that song for me. And to me, it goes beyond reconnecting with a girlfriend. It means we all have a search. We're all on a search. Some of us travel the whole world over looking for happiness, fulfillment. What is my calling? What is my vocation? For me, I knew it was music from the day one. I didn't have much of a search. It was there. So many people come right back to the core and realize they had happiness right in their hometown, right where they started.
The search has come full circle.
I think that's the nugget of why that song connected with so many. Obviously, it was a very good song, and I still don't know why that modulation works into the chorus. I don't want to analyze it because it might disappear. But Jimmy's vocal, when he did that final vocal, we're all in the control room. Ron Nevison, who's Iron Man, was crying. It was just an incredible moment. So his vocal just killed it.
Taking on the world.
It was the best. Put it all together, and you got The Search Is Over.
Well, you wrote that song entirely in your head on a drive.
That's true. Which I do a lot. Because if you have an instrument in your hand, it almost limits you. And I had that tape recorder there, and I did the whole thing a cappella with la-di-da lyrics. But I got home, and I had to figure out what I had done. And I realized that modulation, I never would have found it if I was sitting at the piano.
Well, and that's got one of the best bridges of that time for a song. I love the bridge where it says, hearts lie victims of the game, then good luck it finally struck like lightning from the blue, every highway leading me back to you. I love that line, how he sings that. It's so
highways lead me back to you. Yeah. That melody is one of my favorite melodies I've ever written. It's just so simple. In fact, I had that melody for years till I plugged it in to that. There is a God. That was the days when you could have a long bridge. Nowadays, it seems either bridges aren't there at all, or they're instrumental, or they're tiny. Well, the Beatles were the master of the 8-bar bridge.
Yeah.
It's almost getting back to that.
It finally struck like lightning from the blue.
The part that, as a kid, that I always loved, and I would rewind and this is so cool. He swore in the song, So if you ever love me, show me that you give a damn.
Show me that you give a damn.
But I'd sing that and show it to my friends. They're like, oh, swear word.
We got it through somehow,
I know.
Yeah.
Because I can't think of a song from that year that had a swear word in it. That one did, and it was a huge song.
You couldn't say give a darn.
I know. But Burt Bacharach.
Oh, my man.
Tell us that story. What did you think about that?
Well, I had the pleasure of meeting him. He's my hero. He and Hal David, of course. Without Hal David, it would be, just music. Hal was just an absolutely brilliant lyricist. They were my role models. The Beatles and Bacharach were really my role models. And when it came to write that bridge on Search Is Over, I wanted this to be my ode to Burt Bacharach. So the original melody was far more melodic than it ended up. It was, now the roads stretch up behind me, loves that I have lost. And Jimmy learned it that way, and Frankie goes, man, it's too... So he changed it to, now the roads not up behind me.
Yeah.
We got rid of the peaks. But every time Jimmy used to leave me a message, he sang the original bridge to me, because he loved the original. But, all those early Dionne Warwick songs, they were just my Bible.
And he told you that. Burt Bacharach
then I did a show with him, and I did a medley of all my hits with a full orchestra, as did he. Then afterwards, he said, Jim, The Search Is Over. What a song. Shook my hand. I said, now I can die.
Yeah, no kidding.
Oh my God.
Gosh.
And I have a picture of him. And
he heard it. I mean,
that was the hugest accolade I could have ever gotten.
Oh, no question. The covers too. Colin Ray has a great cover of it.
He does. And I did that with him at a writer's round at Tin Pan South, and he nailed it.
You can tell that he just loved that song.
And
He's introduced it live because I've seen him live in concert saying this is one of my favorite songs from the 80s.
And that's another great singer.
You were with me all the while.
And then American Idol with Scott McIntyre. He also released it as a single. And Rock of Ages was a duet between Drew and Sherry.
Oh, that was a thrill. I've been to every opening all across the country, and it was a big thrill to have that as the big love ballad at the end.
Oh, I know.
Love was right before my eyes.
Just the last two lines. It just puts it together perfectly.
Then I touched your hand. I could hear you whisper. The search is over. That's a trick of mine, if you can call it a trick, to have the words come from someone else other than yourself. I did that on Hold On Loosely. My mind goes back to the girl I met long years ago who told me, hold on loosely, but don't let. Then you're not preaching to anybody.
I could hear you whisper.
Hey, thanks for watching. Leave us a comment about Survivor and this empowering power ballad. What are your memories of it? No doubt about it that you have some memories because this was a song that was always on the radio. Tell us your story. Now, you can get Survivor's music by clicking on our Amazon links. If you like our content, we do invite you to join our community full-time by subscribing below to the channel. You can also become an honorary Patreon to help us keep this music alive. Thank you so much for your support. We love you out there. And remember, 3 chords and the truth, my friends. Stay safe out there.